Welcome back to the channel. I'm Foreman, and today I'm going to be talking about the stocks I'm buying right now. And yes, if you haven't heard correctly, I have lost my voice from screaming and shouting to music I don't particularly like. I've also had a few alcoholic beverages before this video, so it will be a different video than usual. This week, the FTSE 100, according to Google Finance, is up 1.26%. The FTSE 250 is down 0.21%. And the S&P 500 is up 1.84%. My portfolio is about as crashing as hard as my voice. I've dropped by 7.17%. A lot of people right now will be like, whoa, what's going on? There might be a bit of panic. There might be a lot of uncertainty. They'll be like, what's going on? They're going to think with their emotions and they're not going to be level-headed. I'm personally not bothered. I know exactly why the portfolio has fallen. I think, yeah, maybe it would have been avoidable, but at the same time, I'm committed over the longer-term investment strategy, and therefore I believe that this short-term volatility is of little to no consequence to me unless I'm looking to buy the dip. And interestingly, the top faller this week is Argo Blockchain. Shares are down 24.43%. This is a huge swing, especially with the great news that they were listed on the Nasdaq, and this happened, I believe, 4 days ago from this video. However, unbeknownst to investors, the share placing, or at least when it first opened on the US markets, at least on the Nasdaq, shares had started at $15, whereas it was widely speculated that shares would start around about $18 per share, and so obviously this is quite a significant undercutting, but I suppose in a way this is what institutions do. They're going to get themselves a low base cost, and over the longer term, with the Nasdaq drive of those people and the retail investors in the US, the likes of those that are in the Robinhood, Webull generation that don't have access to the OTCQX markets like the listing ARBKF, I think there's long-term growth potential, especially because I think that same kind of capital that is in Riot, is in Marathon, is in Hut 8, is in Bitfarms, I think that kind of capital should really push into Argo Blockchain. Even if it doesn't mean it's like a massive change, that level of money is likely going to push in and push shares up over the longer term. I, in fact, was quite tempted to buy shares this week. It was quite a significant drop, and obviously we had seen high volatility in the last 2 weeks, but at the moment I've decided that I'm not going to. I am massively overexposed to this company, and whilst I think they are of a good quality, management still did leave a bad taste in my mouth. Sure, they have now raised a lot more money, and this does put them in a good position, and it is a minor dilution at the same time. But they did take that aggressive Bitcoin-backed loan and doubled down on it. Obviously, they knew at the time that they were going to be listed on the Nasdaq and earn capital, but still, I'm not 100% confident on this, especially when we had that short report, I believe it was Boatman Capital. Whilst a lot of that had been debunked, it does still leave some questions that were never truly answered about why were they overpaying for such a piece of land, for instance. However, they said it was an all-in-one thing to build this Texas facility, so I will be interested to see how this does over the longer term. But regardless, I've not bought any shares. On the contrary, I have actually sold shares. I sold 2 more shares of Ashfield Group. At the moment, I'm pretty much done with this stock. I've seen what their revenue growth was, and I've seen that their guidance for next year, it's too slow for what I like. Sure, from 2020 to 2021, there are some phenomenal double-digit numbers. However, this is inflated because they struggled during 2020, during a global pandemic where a lot of the construction industry was shut down for a large proportion of the year. And so it makes sense as to why their revenue and that would be up significantly, because obviously they had such a big fall that it's going to look better from a lower point. Regardless, I don't truly understand this business. I do like the business model of long-term leases and rentals in these more staple industries. However, I feel that this is out of my level of knowledge and specification, and I think the market cap of the company and overall their size is a bit big for the kind of growth that I'm looking for in my portfolio. So I trimmed 2 more shares, and I use this to buy other stocks in my portfolio. And if you'd like to sign up to my stockbroker Freetrade, you can get a free share worth up to £200 when you use my link in the description down below. So sign up to Freetrade and get that free share. Boohoo this week had dropped by 0.8%. This is a mediocre performance at best, but considering the whole general markets are a bit lopsided for the week, it isn't too bad. We've got two huge dates coming up. The 29th, we've got an update on that court case. This is the whole US lawsuit that could fine up to $100 million. And so it'll be interesting to see what kind of developments will be made on the 29th. And after that, a day later, on the 30th, is the release or the publication of their interim results. I would very much like to see how well they've done in the half of the year. I think it's going to be quite strong. I think it's going to be better than their projected revenue guidance of only 25% for the full year. And I think that perhaps this will be enough to push shares up, and then the portfolio itself will be doing a lot better, because obviously at the moment my portfolio has taken a serious hammering over the last week or two, and now it's certainly very much underperforming. Even since the start of the year, since January 1st, I've been consistently underperforming. And so hopefully there is a bit of a pushes it upwards. I've acquired quite a lot of shares. I've bought 54 more shares this week. And hopefully once I've built substantial capital, which I feel that I already have, these shares go up and then I can reap that reward. Although for all I know with Boohoo, it could go up for a bit and then it could come back down. But at that point, it's speculation. It'd be wild guessing as to whether shares will go back down. So I will just buy the shares now while I think there's blood in the streets and I think the price is cheap. I'm going to continue to hold and hold it over the longer term whilst the price steadily increases, because I think the underlying fundamentals and financials are going to increase quite significantly during this time. One stock that I haven't really mentioned in a while is Games Workshop. Shares dropped by about 1.40%, but at this point they dropped to around about £108 per share. I decided, you know what, it's been so long since I've bought shares of Games Workshop. They're a quality company and it's very difficult to get a good valuation on them because they hold their premium. Investors do think this is a very quality company, that I decided to buy another share. This was from the proceeds of selling my Ashfield shares, only 2 of them, to buy an additional share of Games Workshop alongside a few extra shares of Boohoo. I actually went into a Warhammer store this week. I'm working in a different town, and on my lunch break I decided just to have a little look. I looked around at the figures. As the moment I walked in, the I suppose retail, the employee of the store was immediately saying, "Hey, is everything okay? Can I help you?" Being very friendly with great customer service. I said, "I'm good, thank you, I'm just browsing." And he at the same time was entertaining some clients, and I believe they were playing a game or something of Warhammer. I know that they were rolling the 20-sided dice, and it looked quite interesting, although I was just mainly looking at the figurines. And then as I was leaving, after about 5-10 minutes of just having a general browse, he once more asked, "Hey, is everything all right? Can I help you?" And I said, "No, it's all good. I've just had a look and it's much appreciated." And to be honest, it demonstrates that even though they've got 1 employee per store, they still have a very aware employee base and they have very good customer service. And I think customer service at the moment is one of the most important things that any business can do. We are certainly in a services economy in the UK, and I think with the likes of Games Workshop and their employees being very hospitable towards potentially new customers, I think this is a great sign. I'm very likely going to go back into that same Warhammer store. I'm going to go in there and say that I'm a beginner. Where would I start? What would they recommend? And I would be quite interested to see what they say. And I think that could gauge some very good information. And then I can really work out what I really think of the company and their gaming, so that I could then decide, okay, if I like this, and I like the financials and fundamentals, and I like the management of the company, then this could certainly be the biggest position in my portfolio. And we also have Team 17, which is actually the top riser this week, gaining 6.85%. Excuse me, my voice is really going now. It's becoming quite tough. This is going to be a shorter video than usual. It's likely that this share has just been floating up and down and about. It does have a lower liquidity compared to some of the other investments in my portfolio. Hence why when you look at the charts of the stock, you'll see instead of up and down like jagged lines, you see a line and it might go flat, or it might go up and then flat for a long period of time. That's low liquidity. And that makes sense with a company of this type, although it is unusual. This is quite an unusually big company to be having low liquidity, but then again, it is listed on the AIM markets, and with the AIM markets, the majority of that liquidity is in really the biggest companies or the most popular ones, and the rest of them do have a bit of liquidity, but not too much. Team 17 is now back out above the valuation I would look to buy them, but hey, they're in my portfolio, they're doing okay, and maybe they'll do better over the longer term. A lot of people have been asking, a lot of people have been suggesting ideas. I'm very likely going to pick up the stock analysis series once more. So I would love to hear, what stock would you like me to look at? Not this week, but next week. What stock do you want me to look at? And I'm looking for ideally popular ones. Rolls-Royce was one that was my best performing video on the channel. I don't really want to re-look at that company because I feel that what I've said still remains relevant. But if there is a stock that you would like me to cover, please leave a comment down below. It's been too long where there's been too little investment in my own mental capacity into this channel and the growth. And I've been stagnating in terms of subscribers and views for the last 5-6 months. So it's time to really change that up. And if you'd like to see the UK stocks to buy this month, then click the card at the top right of the video. Thank you for watching. I'm Osborne Foreman. I'm surprised I haven't voice cracked too badly. Have a fantastic weekend.